Hello my dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Phantom Curiosities. Since you guys loved the last episode so much about Robert, I thought I would bring you another episode about a story from a far off land of Japan, my homeland where my people, my family comes from. And we're going to learn about yokais, and one in specific. A yokai is a Japanese monster or spirit revolving around Japanese folklore, tales, and mysteries. And today I thought we would talk about the Japanese legend yokai called Kuchisake Onna. In translation, she is known as the SLIT-MOUTHED Woman. Her habitat is a dimly lit street and alleyways. Her diet is considered to have none, but although she enjoys hard candy, as known in the tales, Kuchisake Onna is the spirits of the dead who were killed in particularly violent manners, abused wives, tortured captives, defeated enemies often do not rest well. One such spirit is Kuchisake Onna, the ghost of a woman who was mutilated, come back to wreak vengeance on the world. Her name comes from the deep, bloody gash which runs across her face, grinning from ear to ear. She appears at night to lone travelers on the road, covering her grisly mouth with a cloth mask, or sometimes a fan, sometimes a handkerchief, sometimes the mask is a medical mask. Kuchisake Onna sneaks up on her victims in the dark, and then asks them if they think she's beautiful. Watashi kirei? Meaning, I am beautiful? If the victim answers yes, she pulls off her mask, revealing a red, bloody, dripping, grotesque mouth. Then she asks in a grisly voice if they still think she is kore demo, meaning even this. If her victims answers no or screams in terror, she slashes him from ear to ear so that he resembles her. If he lies and answers yes a second time, she walks away only to follow her target to his home and slaughter him brutally at night. During the Edo period, a large number of Kuchisake Onna attacks were blamed on shape-changing kitsune, which is foxes, playing pranks on young men. And this is the point, friends, where I realized that this story has been told to me many a times when I was a child, because kitsune means fox. And I didn't know this tale as Kuchisake Onna. I knew it as fox kitsune. When I was a kid, my grandmother would tell us scary, spooky stories about a woman who would lure men at night, and she was so beautiful, so all these men would follow her, and she would disappear behind trees in the forest while she was being followed, and these men were like so infatuated with her, but then all of a sudden she would turn into a kitsune, which is a fox. And this has been a tale that's been told in many Japanese generations, including mine. My grandmother told it to me as a kid, and she told it to my mother, and my mother told it to us when we wanted to hear spooky stories at night. And so I knew it as kitsune, the fox, and not Kuchisake Onna, which is the slit-mouthed woman. But I could see that being true because the slit-mouthed woman is a woman that would lure men with the fan. And so she was hiding, and the men probably saw a woman hiding behind the fan but didn't see her slit mouth. So it makes a lot of sense how it could be a shapeshifter. In the kitsune fox story that I learned, it was definitely a woman who is a shapeshifter. So that is very interesting. It came from the Edo period. During the 20th century, the blame began to be placed on ghosts, serial killers, and simple mass hysteria, resulting in many Kuchisake Onna sightings over Japan. A number of clever young people claimed to have outsmarted them by delivering quick, confusing answers, by throwing money or hard candy at her, buying themselves enough time to escape from her wrath and lose her in the darkness. The kitsune and Kuchisake Onna of these women, shape-shifting women that will lure men, has been in many J-horror dramas, and I believe it inspired remakes such as The Ring and Dark Water. It is also known as an urban legend about the disfigured Japanese woman who brandishes this large scissors also and preys on children in some stories. Even though she has a slit mouth from scissors, apparently she uses the scissors as a weapon to prey on children in some tales. She has an enormous slit mouth, which extends, of course, from ear to ear as like a permanent smile. This also has been known in America in some horrors as the Chelsea smile. The slit-mouthed woman walks the streets of Japan wearing, of course, masks, but sometimes a surgical mask, and haunting for children. So sometimes these tales say children, sometimes these tales say men, but if you cross her path, she will stop you and ask you a question. If you give her an answer that she doesn't like, the wrong answer, there will be horrible consequences. Picture the scene. You're walking home from school when your path takes you down a deserted city street. Suddenly you hear a faint noise coming from the shadows. You glance over and see a beautiful woman standing there. She has long black hair, and it's so crazy that this has been told for so many years, even since my grandma, who's 93, she has been told these tales her whole life. A surgical mask can cover the lower half of her face. In Japan, surgical masks, of course, aren't uncommon, especially during flu and sick season, the colder weather, to prevent spreading of germs, because in Japan they really try to respect their elders and other people's cleanliness, so that's why surgical masks aren't rare to see in Japan, out and about in public. But she steps out of the shadows and blocks your path, asking, is she beautiful? But before you can answer, sometimes in some tales, she tears off her mask, revealing a hideous, deformed face. Her huge mouth is sliced, of course, from ear to ear. Some tales, it says, it reveals rows of sharp teeth, big red disgusting tongue, twisting and twirling inside her face. She screams, "Am I beautiful now?" Terrified, you struggle to answer her. If you say no, she pulls out a huge pair of scissors and kills you immediately, chopping off your head. If you say yes, she takes her scissors and slices your mouth from ear to ear, making you look just like her. The only way to escape from Kuchisake Onna is to give a non-committal answer. If you say you look average or you look normal, she will be confused, giving you just enough time to run away. There are many rumors about the Kuchisake Onna got her horribly disfigured mouth. Some say that her slit mouth is a result of plastic surgery that went horribly wrong. Others say that she was injured in a terrible car crash. Some even believe she's an escaped mental patient who was so demented that she cut her own mouth apart. According to one legend, years ago in Japan, there lived a very beautiful woman who was extremely vain and self-absorbed. Her husband was very jealous and brutal, and he became convinced that she was cheating on him. In a fit of rage, he took a sword and slit her mouth from ear to ear, screaming, "Who will think you're beautiful now?" She became a vengeful spirit and began wandering the streets of Japan wearing a surgical mask to hide her terrible scars, which makes me sad for this spirit, this ghost and story. But the slit-mouthed woman's history, the reign of its terror, began in the spring and summer of 1979. When rumors began to spread throughout Japan about sightings of a Kuchisake Onna hunting down children, the story spread like wildfire. It actually creates scares in many towns. In 2004, South Korea was plagued by reports of a red-masked woman who was chasing children. In 2007, a coroner found some old records from the late 1970s about a woman who was chasing little children but was hit by a car and died shortly after, and her mouth was ripped from ear to ear. So since there's a coroner involved with this who found records about this, do you think this story is true? What do you guys believe? Do you think that poor woman, which makes me so sad now, about her husband brutally attacking her? Do you think that it's just a tale? Think there's some truth to it? Or maybe it's just a tale that my family used to scare us children in order to come home on time, stay safe, stranger danger, about the changing kitsune, the fox woman. which is also considered a kuchisake onna. They kind of like intertwine with each other. Also, what other tales you guys would love for me to read here at Phantom Curiosities. Stay creative and spooky, sweet dreams, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!